For your health and wellness needs, visit alsherbs.com, ALSHERBS.com, because your health is your wealth. For all your tech support needs, visit ASCS Technical Services at ASCSTS.com. We have on site service as well as remote support options. Check out brokegeniuses.com, stay in the know, order some of our latest merchandise as well as use our financial tools to help you on your daily financial journey.
What's going on? What's going on? This is Finance Friday, and the topic of discussion is the middle class trap. Okay, so the thumbnail is a man in a hamster wheel, and that's sort of what I'm going to be talking about here today. So, first of all, what is middle class? That's what we gotta address first. Okay, we got to get that out the way first. What is middle class? Because class is definitely in session. So, what is middle class? Okay, middle class is 50K, at least 35K at the very least, and as high as $100,000 a year. Okay, so let me put that out there. Okay. Now on the low scale, 35K, and the high scale is about $100,000 a year. Okay. Now, obviously, we all live in the United States. It's not, one size fits all. So, okay, just imagine $35,000 in New York, and you are literally struggling. And $35,000 in LA, you are definitely struggling and definitely got roommates. Okay. That's just, it is what it is. Even if you make $100,000 a year in New York and LA and other high cost of living markets, you'll be, lucky enough to get an apartment. Now, if you're making 100K, yeah, you can probably get a single bedroom, like a one bedroom house or apartment, a condo, depending on where you are. In LA, I'm not sure. I don't think so. In New York, I don't think so as well. But in particular markets, such as the Midwest and different markets in the, real estate markets in the United States, even 35K, you can, like in Mississippi, 35K, you could probably most likely afford a single family home. Okay, in Mississippi, other parts of the country where the cost of living is very low. Whereas, in 35K in Chicago, you're gonna be living in the hood. Okay, you're gonna be living in an apartment in the hood with $35,000. I mean, it just is what it is. If you're lucky, you can get a nicer apartment in a nicer neighborhood, but they're gonna tax you for it. It is possible, but ideally, the sweet spot probably I want to say in Illinois is about at least upwards of 50K. If you make over 50K in Illinois in the Chicagoland area, you can kind of like, you can make a few moves. If you make 100K in anywhere in the Midwest, I mean, you can live pretty good. You can pretty much afford a very decent, like, deluxe size house, like 4 or 5 bedroom house, 2 bathrooms or 2+ bathrooms. You can totally afford that with $100,000 a year salary. Okay, but that is middle class, 35K to 100K. Okay, depending on where you are, that even $100,000 is you're gonna be, very challenged to find. As far as cost of living expenses to find something like a high quality of living. Okay, now that we got that out the way, we're gonna talk about this here. So, with this middle class trap, what I mean by it is, I mean, obviously you could get where I mean by it. Basically, a lot of times people get comfortable. I'm gonna also show, I'm gonna resurrect Maslow's again, and I'm gonna talk about it. A lot of times people get comfortable in the middle. They get comfortable once they get 25, 27, 28. They get their first, career job out of college or a couple years, few years out of college, and they get very settled, very comfortable, just kind of being in the middle. Because being middle class, you can afford a place to live. You can typically afford a decent car. You typically can afford to, eat just about what you want to eat. I mean, you can pretty much kind of be comfortable in the middle class depending on where you live. Whereas a lot of times people, I've seen in my entire life, I've seen people get so comfortable being middle class, they literally become middle class their entire life, and they just stay there. They go to the grave there. Okay, and this is what I'm going to give some tips on how to get out of that, and also just break down why people actually are entrapped into the middle class. Okay, I'm going to give a few reasons first off why people typically are trapped in the middle class. Now, first thing first, I would just say bad personal, I'll just say bad financial education. That's the first thing, because here's the thing about a lot of people might not know, and I've talked about this before. Your education, your financial education typically comes from your parents. So a lot of times, even the from the research that I've read, most people, they inherit their parents' social financial class. Basically, if their parents were middle class, then they typically you typically become middle class. Like, for example, my parents were middle class. I've been middle class for a long time as well. I mean, I had to learn how to break out of a lot of the habits and then things that I saw coming up with my parents and stuff like that. And I'm, you know, becoming more out of that. And I'm going to talk about, because obviously I'm going to talk about my book that I just got finished, because basically my millionaire savings plan is definitely a middle class buster. It will bust through that habit of just kind of being on a hamster wheel and just being stuck in the same repetitive cycle. But I'm gonna get to all of that. But the first reason I would definitely say wholeheartedly is bad financial education. Typically, like I say, we get our financial education from our parents. Now, another thing is, in the K through 12 educational system, they typically do not teach financial education. They might teach a little bit, but it's if you can even put on the tinfoil hats and be like, it's conspiratory. Where Why do they not teach financial education in K through 12? Well, I think it is a reason why, but one of the reasons I have to admit is that I think they do not want you to actually have financial education, because what does that mean if you have financial education? Well, typically what that means is you are uh, pretty much a power consumer, because we all consume, right? We all buy things and we all contribute to the economy. Well, if you have financial education, that means that you're also able to thrive in the economy. because you know what to do, you know how to do it, when to do it, you know about stocks, bonds, mutual funds, options, you know about mortgages, products, loan products, debt products, you know the basically the general idea of how the economy works, things of that nature is financial education. Most of people don't get financially educated until post high school. So after you get probably your first credit card, that typically is what happens with a lot of people. If they're just going to school and they're not reading or they're not, researching online, I will have to say that a lot of children now have a leg up because basically you can just kind of go online and research things relatively easy. This, certain channels, certain videos like this one is not necessarily geared toward children, but this will not have a 18 plus title, so it will basically it'll be open to the public, and it's nothing stopping any child below 18 to actually watch this video and become financially educated, or even pick up some things to research on their own time. So that is definitely the first one, is bad financial education. The second thing is, I would have to say, is because they have bad financial education, also bad financial habits is another one, another reason that people get stuck in the middle class. And bad financial habits is basically things such as living check to check, or not creating a budget, or basically not saving any money, not having any emergency fund. These are behaviors that become habits that pretty much are bad financial habits. Another bad financial habits, it will be like spending on emotions, just basically just freestyling it, like just doing whatever you want to do with your own money, and just shooting off the hip, as far as your financial decisions. So that the cusp of it is, you just take bad financial education, you add on bad financial habits, and then you basically have this stagnation where you just put in financial stagnation. Okay. All right. Where basically people just become stagnant. Okay, because you only make so much money if you don't do anything on the side. If you don't have another job, you just this job you make middle class income off of, you become financially stagnant. So these three things: bad financial education, bad financial habits, and ultimately financial stagnation, leads to you being that middle class person on the hamster wheel, and just basically going nowhere really as fast as you want to go. And we're gonna talk about how to get out of this middle class trap. Okay, we're gonna basically give some keys on how to get out of this. Okay, so the first things first is, we got to create a budget. We need to create a budget. Budget does not cost anything. It's free 99. We need to create. Let me change this here. We need to create a budget, basically. So a budget is basically you know a list of your personal expenses that you have every single month, and it you can also adjust it. It does not cost that, it doesn't cost anything to create a budget. Now, yeah, you can go buy budget software and stuff like that. And I definitely recommend it, but I've never used any budget software. I basically use an Excel spreadsheet typically, but you don't even have to do that. You can basically go on my blog, which is brokegeniuses.com, and you can basically go on and use one of the financial tools and put in your budget right there. You can put in your budget, and all you have to do is just copy it after you create your budget, and then you could just put it. You could put it on a Word document. You could plug it into an Excel spreadsheet. Basically, you can do just that, and you can create a budget just that easy. Just going to my site, brokegeniuses.com. I have a budget calculator on my blog. Okay. So yeah, definitely that is the first thing is create a budget. So after you create a budget, what you ultimately want to do is stick with that budget, and that budget should include savings. Okay. You should basically, if you have a surplus, you need to, start saving. Okay. Why save? Okay. The reason why you should save is because you ultimately want a surplus every month. If you basically have, let's say you have no debt, right? Which most people do have a debt, but you should ultimately, you know, save money regardless, because you need an emergency fund. Let's just change this to, let's just say, emergency fund. You need emergency fund. Okay. So the emergency fund should be at least about $500 to $1,000 to start. You know, but those are the main two things that you need to start. If you have not already started that, you need a budget, and then you also need some type of emergency fund. And your budget should consist of your, if you have debts, payments toward those debts every month. Okay. And your emergency fund should be set aside in an account that you have quick access to. Ultimately, it should be an account separate from your main account. You should not commingle your emergency fund with your main checking account. It should be basically an account that is like basically a card associated with some type of debit card, or if it's just a savings account, just some type of like debit card to take out money from the ATM in case of an emergency. And you should just put that card in some type of lockbox somewhere, some place where you know where it is, but nobody else knows where it is. And that account and that card associated with the account and the monies in the account, it should be just somewhere, just sitting. This is for emergencies only, not for you want to go have a girls trip, you want to go out and hang with the fellas. None of that. It's just an emergency fund that is basically break glass here because it's an emergency, and use these funds for said emergency. Okay. So with those two things, creating a budget and also having an emergency fund, this is where I'm at my limits as far as education. I have to talk about my book, which is The Millionaire Savings Plan. And because basically this book actually it talks about those two things, as well as basically the actual plan as far as becoming. Because see, here's the thing: how do you not be in the middle class? You get as rich as you possibly can, and then ultimately as wealthy as you possibly can, as fast as you can. Okay, because see, here's the thing: In order to get that and get out of that middle class trap, how do you do it? Okay, one step at a time, one day at a time, one week at a time, 1 month at a time, 1 year at a time. That's how you got to look at it. So, with this millionaire savings plan, I'm going to utilize this. This is going to be a tool that also not only something that I use, but whenever there's a topic that this covers, this is what I'm going to put back at it because this will ultimately get you out of the middle class trap. Now, if it's associated with anything other than if it's something that's not associated with it, I wouldn't talk about it. But in this particular discussion, basically, this is a middle class breaker. Okay, this millionaire savings plan, this will break you out of the middle class and separate you from everyone else. Okay, not only does here's the thing about this millionaire savings plan that I'm gonna slow down a little bit. What this ultimately does is, even if you're not in the middle class and you don't really have that much debt, you just work at Starbucks, you go to community college because you're trying to save money. What this will ultimately do is it'll make you have more cash on hand as a lot of people actually have in the bank. Because see, here's the thing about saving statistics: 80% of Americans don't have basically more than $1,000 saved in their emergency, as far as an emergency fund. My first step in this book, the millionaire savings plan, is saving $1,000. And each step that you achieve, you get a reward. So the first step, you get $1,000, and then you don't touch it. You just buy you get your reward, and then you move to the following step, which is step two, which is $2,000. So upon doing that, even if you're not even in the middle class, what you ultimately do is, if you don't have any, let's say you have no debts, you just live with your parents and you work at Starbucks, you ultimately start enriching yourself. And upon enriching yourself, you have more cash on hand, more monies on hand than the average American has in their bank. And then you start to slowly achieve greatness. Because see, here's the thing about the power of money, and then the power of business and investing and stuff like that. Money usually makes more money if you know how to use it wisely. I'll repeat that. Money makes more money. Okay. So when you start to get to the point where, like I say, this is someone that, working at Starbucks, living with their family, and you're at step two, you got yourself a reward. Now you're getting ready to get on step three, which is $4,000. You get that goal because not only are you working at Starbucks, you're doing a little Uber on the side, and you're making a little money, and then you're contributing your money to your savings account slowly but surely. Every time you work, you're contributing to your savings account. Because ultimately the goal is to become rich. Okay, that's how you get out of the middle class. You get rich as you possibly can. You get away from it. Just yesterday, not yesterday, Wednesday, I talked about what the 0.01% and then the one percenters, right? So the one percenters, they make about $300,000 a year, and then the 0.01 percenters, they make about $4 million plus a year. Okay, so when you actually are trying to get out of this middle class trap or whatever, even if you're not even in the middle class, what this millionaire savings plan does, it gets you fast as you possibly can. It enriches yourself, you know as fast as you possibly can, so you can ultimately become richer than you possibly ever became. Because see, here's the thing: like I'm just, I wrote the book, but this is something that I've used to become enriching myself, and I've made steps to basically create something that I'll have for my children. I'll have something for myself where I'll have a house. I'll ultimately you know have more money coming in, and less money going out, pay my debts off, all with this millionaire savings plan. Now, like I said, going back to the Starbucks worker, he or she got 4 grand in the bank. He or she's got more money than his manager in his account, because his manager is middle class, but he's living check to check. He's doing those things such as he doesn't have a budget, he doesn't have any emergency fund. He just living check to check, working in Starbucks as a manager. But you being a associate at the drive through at the Starbucks, you got $4,000 in your account because you've been listening to this guy by the name of the Broke Genius, and you bought his millionaire savings plan book, and you're using those strategies to enriching your life, and definitely break that check to check lifestyle. My first step breaks the check to check lifestyle out the rip. I mean, it just does. I mean, basically, I'm not playing with it. I'm not messing around at all. So it's literally 11 steps. On 11 step, you actually become a millionaire. Along the way, you will become richer and richer each step you actually take. So you got step 3. Now you at step 4, and you got 8 grand. What's going on, my favorite subscriber? Um, you now at basically 8 grand, because you worked at Starbucks, you've done Uber on the side, you helped your grandma clean out her garage and her house. She gave you some money. You've babysitted, your nieces and nephews and your cousins, over summer because you don't have any children. So basically, now you got $8,000 that you saved over the summer. So not only do you have more money than your manager at your Starbucks, you probably have more money than your saved in your account than your district manager, depending on the situation. Statistically, you probably do, having $8,000. Now you got 8 grand. You trying to get your way up to step 5 with the 16 grand. So now you thinking about, okay, what should I do? Should I you ultimately come to the decision that you're gonna try to get into eBay or something, or Amazon. You're gonna like try to find some goods to resell, and basically, get yourself to the point that you can get to $16,000, because ultimately you understand you're not gonna make all of this. You coming flat on earnings, because yeah, you do Uber, you work at Starbucks, but you only make what you make, and it's not that much. What's going on, Iori? Let's see. Lyft and Uber is going up again. Lyft is now at the head of my portfolio. Neo is following second place, buying more pharmaceuticals Monday. Let me see. I haven't been following Lyft or Uber. Let's see what's going on with Lyft. Let's see here. Okay, they're floating up. Okay, they're going up the roller coaster. Okay, let's see what's going on with Uber. Let's see here. Said stop the show, huh? See what the Uber is doing. Okay, so right, okay. Um, Uber is making a descent. Okay, that's what's up. Yeah, so yeah, I mean you got 16, you trying to get 16 grand. So ultimately here's the deal. You came to the decision you also gonna have to invest in yourself. You're gonna have to invest in yourself because you're, 20 years old, you working in Starbucks, you living with your parents, which is all right. You got 8 grand plus in the bank. You're trying to turn two, which is you're trying to get to step six, which is, well, actually no, you're trying to get to, yeah, you're trying to get to step five, because you're trying to get to $16,000. Okay, you're trying to go from 8 to 16,000. So you hitting a little wall, right? So you're gonna, try to get in the e-commerce business, and then you also um you came to the understanding that, okay, you being 20, you're gonna have to do something to learn some type of career. So ultimately, what you decided upon was that you do like working with your hands. So you decided to go to school for carpentry. So you go to school to become a carpenter's apprentice. So you use your $8,000, and then you didn't have to use that much because you were going to junior college already. So you decided you're just gonna change your major to carpentry. So you go to school, you go to carpentry school at your local college. It costs out of pocket more money, but it's worth it. It's about, maybe $1,600 with the books and all of the tools that you need and everything. So it's a 6 month program to become a carpenter's apprentice. So you ultimately take 6 months out, you still work. You might have cut back on the Uber a little bit. I'm just painting the story. I'm walking you guys down, right? So you basically cut down on Uber. You still work at Starbucks. Your bank account's still on swole. Being a 20-year-old, you got over $8,000 in it, and you don't really tell too many people because you don't want nobody robbing you. You don't want nobody asking you for any money either. Because grown folks will ask you for money. um, you know, Basically, everybody got that uncle that be like, "Hey, let me borrow $20 to tomorrow." You know what I'm saying? You cut all that out because you nobody knows you got this money. So 6 months roll by. You got your hammer, you got your drills, you wearing your Dickie pants or your Carhartts, and you got your tape measure, you got your utility belts and stuff like that. You got your bags of tools. Like, I'm literally looking at my bags of tools right now, and I ain't even no carpenter apprentice, but I do know a little bit, But you got all your stuff, you got your ducks lined up, you taking your tests, you passing your instructor saying you got a promising career ahead of you. So ultimately, after 6 months, you complete that apprenticeship. You complete that class, and then you also, a part of that class, you do an internship with a construction labor company. So you get in first out the gate, making about $25 an hour as a construction laborer. So now pretty much you're a reputable, equitable person. So you give Starbucks their 2 week notice. Your manager pretty much says, you know what, we don't need your 2 week notice. We know this is a temporary job. Wish you the best of luck, but let me hold about $20 because he knows about your plan and how you've been killing it. And he just gives you a little sly joke because you got more money than your manager. Okay, so first of all, you go work, you start your first week as a construction laborer making $25 an hour. And then you kind of, it's a little bit different than your Starbucks job because it's very intense as far as, you know, it just takes a lot out of you. You can handle it, but it's a very rough job on you. But you making $25 an hour. You thinking about what? You thinking about step basically five. You're trying to get to the 16K. So let's do the math here. So as a construction laborer, you're making $25 an hour. You was making only 12 at Starbucks, but now you making about double, a little bit more than double now at working as a construction laborer. You're doing 80 hours, you're doing full time as well. So you're making about $2,000 every 2 weeks versus, making just, peanuts from your other job. So after taxes, you coming home with about $1,700 every 2 weeks. Okay. So now you putting that money aside, you saving it. So you estimate that because you already got 8 grand, actually you got 10 grand. So you estimate that you'll probably be at step 5 within about 4 months with this job. And then, you got aspirations. But basically what I'm getting at is basically this is the part where it gets interesting. You don't have any debt. And then as far as income is concerned, you are now in the middle class. I just pretty much took somebody that was in the working class, or even, I don't even know. Starbucks is that considered poverty? I don't know. I think that well, as far as income, because you work the second job, you're not in poverty. But I mean, basically, I just walk someone down on how you could basically um, get from working at a low wage job to actually become middle class, because $25 times 160 is $4,000 a month times 12. Actually, let me get that together. 4,000 times 12. Okay. Yeah, you have 48 grand. So yeah, you definitely at middle class. And you're only 20 years old. I mean, your 21st birthday is in like 5 months away, but you already, making $48,000 a year. You're well on your way to 16 grand. And I can go on and on with this, but this is the story on how you can actually, get out of, not only get in the middle class, but also quickly get out of the middle class. Because someone is already in the middle class, that's the same way that they would have to get out of the middle class. Because the two things that you're gonna do to get out of the middle class, basically, is income, mainly income or investing. Okay, that, I mean, I can say business, but mainly that is how you're gonna get out of the middle class. Because see, the income part is increasing your income. Okay, basically, just like the person that went to carpentry school from working at Starbucks, they did that to, increase their income and do something to make some more money and become more meaningful in their life, right? They building houses and frames and stuff like that. Whereas if you're already in the middle class, well, you might want to go back to school to become a software developer. You might want to go back to school to be a doctor or a lawyer, or get your CPA and make some money doing that. I mean, it's various different jobs that pay. I talked about in IT project management. A lot of project managers make well over $100,000 a year, and they don't even know how to fix computers. Okay, even software developers. A lot of software developers don't know how to fix no computer. Okay, so they make more than guys like myself that do know how to fix computers. So you go back to school and you become a software developer or SQL developer, and you make that $100,000 a year, that $120,000 a year, and now you're no longer middle class. you're upper middle class. Okay, because basically, the upper class would be definitely over anything over $120,000. Okay, so yeah, I mean that's how you do it. And then another thing is investing, because basically, all right, you take the money that you already do have, because see, a lot of times, here's the thing: in order to invest, you got to have money though. So if you don't have any money, it's going to be very difficult to invest. So if you follow the millionaire savings plan and you're already middle class, you're going to quickly have money to invest. That's the thing. That's the secret to this plan that's so successful. You quickly save, and then you get money. Okay, you do whatever it takes to get to step one and to step two, and then so onward. And before you know it, after several months, a year, 2 years, you're gonna have some money. Okay, and that money, you're gonna have some money to invest in. Okay, I'm not talking about using any credit, anything like that. I'm talking about cash money that you actually have on hand to invest in. Okay, and what you ultimately invest in is something that you know how to invest in. Okay, whether it be real estate, whether it be stocks, whatever the case may be, you invest in something that you are comfortable with investing, and that's it. I mean, it could be a business. If you're a woman, women typically are very good with children. People are very comfortable with handing over their children to women. You can ultimately use your money to start what? A daycare. Okay, daycares are big business. They make a lot of money. Some women are not really into that, but some women are. I mean, I remember my mother, excuse me, she was very much into daycare, trying to, get a daycare off the ground. Okay, that's just one thing, right? You can also start some type of catering business if you know how to cook. It could also be, like I say, it could be whatever you think that you can get into to make a living. You can bake cakes. It was one guy that he actually, I think his name is Darius Cooks. This brother made over $100,000 in this pandemic shipping cakes, making cakes and shipping them out. Literally, he just had a Shopify store and would ship out cakes, and it's, usually is most likely next day air, and he would, he made over 100 grand just selling, shipping out cakes. Okay, so it's whatever you think that you can, you got to test it out. you know if you think that you can possibly, is room to make a profit in, try it out. If you make a profit, just, whatever you do to start, you just increase that energy or whatever that process, and just do it higher, and do it on a higher level. He's already. I think this dude is already a millionaire. His name is he calls himself Darius Cooks, but he made over $100,000 over the course of a few months shipping out cakes to people. Okay, he was shipping out cakes on his store and making a whole bunch of money. The guy already, I think, was a millionaire. I think he's already a millionaire. But he was just making more money with what he was already doing. I mean, the guy sells cookbooks. Um, Let me type in his name here. So yeah, the guy, he sells cookbooks. He sells, like, he's a chef. He sells like recipes and all this type of stuff, cookies, and he sells cakes. Yeah, I mean, it's stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, it's that's those are the things that you do basically. You try to increase your income, and you increase your cash flow so you can invest, because you're going to ultimately need more money what to invest, right? So you get those things together. Either those two, you know, a combination of both will get you there higher up the steps, ultimately to, get out of that middle class trap. Because if you ultimately do nothing, you're going to stay in that middle class trap. It's going to be like basically the frog that continues to stay in the warm water to ultimately becomes hotter and hotter, and then you're burned, right? And then they're putting your mediocre middle class self in the grave, in the box, and that's it. And then you leave all of this debt, and basically just, if you're lucky, you have some life insurance policies, and if you're ultimately lucky, your house is paid off, and that's that. you know but you won't have like millions of dollars in the bank. You won't have millions of dollars in real estate or nothing like that. Like, I was literally today, funny as it may be, talking about inheritance and stuff like that. I was watching this movie called uh 20 Knives or something like that. It was from the guy that was in in the 007 movies, and he was playing this detective, or a personal private investigator, and he was on the case of someone that was basically had died mysteriously. It was like a murder mystery, and he was there to figure out who ultimately killed this older individual that had quite a bit of an estate. The guy had like $60 million in cash. He had, multi-million dollar business. His house was like worth like millions of dollars, or his mansion. It's like somebody killed him. One of his, children, grandchildren killed him. They were trying to figure out who did it. So, but the thing is that won't be you. Nobody probably will kill you but yourself, just through natural causes, but you won't have none of that to pass on to your children, because you will, pretty much just pass on whatever mediocre means that you had on this earth, and that's it. Which is okay. Okay, I'm not a class warfare type of individual. I'm not saying, oh, you middle class people are terrible, you're bums, you're no, 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 no. I mean, if you're lucky enough to have a place to live for yourself, and have some warmth, and be able to take a hot bath every night, and get in a car. I mean, that's pretty good, because some people struggle with that. You wouldn't be surprised how many people struggle with that. If you're able to do that consistently, and that's what you're able to do, there's nothing wrong with that at all. I mean, I'm just saying, if you want to get out of that, if you want to get higher up, because like I said, we talked about the rich, right? The rich is $300,000 a year. Those are the rich. The uber rich is $5 million a year. Okay. So if you wanna be rich, you definitely ain't gonna be rich being middle class. Okay. Yeah, I mean, people actually are able to really do basic things, and actually make a whole bunch of money doing it. I mean, some guy in my last video, my last live Wednesday, I posted the link of the guy that shorted Tesla stocks and made a whole bunch of money. He made like $500,000 from $5,000 shorting Tesla stocks. Okay, in a matter of months. It's no year long thing or multiple years. It's a matter of months. Okay, so some basic things just done over time can ultimately change the course of history. Okay, you just do little small things over time, you'll ultimately get there. I mean, like for my millionaire savings plan, I wanted to I put a date of like 10 years. So it's been about a year since I've wrote that down. So I say that in 10 years, by the time I'm 50, I'll be a millionaire, right? I gave myself that much time, but I ultimately want to beat that. But I'm doing things to ultimately get there. You know, I purchased this house that I got on contract. I'm gonna fix it up. I'm gonna improve my quality of living. Then I'm also gonna try to buy another property. And I'm gonna hedge that, and then I'm gonna also beef up my brokerage accounts. If I can, I'm gonna try to maybe look for another job that pays way more. I'm also waiting on this raise that they supposed to give me, but I don't know about that. But ultimately, yeah, I myself am also trying to look for income and also more income, and also I'm definitely thinking of investments. Now, I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm more of less thinking of investments because it's kind of hard to control the income piece because you only make what you make from your job. The agreement you started your job with is what you agreed upon, which is whatever you get, paid, hourly or salary wise. In my opinion, you can control investing more, in business more than actually your income. So I primarily focus more on my businesses and investment outside of work, then I actually do focus on my income because I look at I can be that person. I watch all of these stories of these guys that they traded their way up to $1 million and stuff like that. I think that I can do something like that. If not, I could get up to the 10,000, $100,000, or be and get it higher and higher because the thing is that I think I can control my investments more than my income. Okay, as far as from a job or contract or whatever the case may be. So I just tend to focus more on investing instead of income. And then I'm a little older, but as far as like changing careers and stuff like that, you know, I mean, MSI, MSI. Let's see here. Motorola Solutions. I went on an interview for them a year ago. I went on the interview. They asked me some very tough questions on the interview, and I did not respond correctly. Let's see here. Year to date went 161. Okay, so you probably looking at them like probably from the last 5 days or something, or I don't know. I mean, they jumped from $10 from November 5th to now for like a month. I don't really see anything, enough to make me like really. I'm not shocked. Like, oh wow, Not when you talked about Iori, when you talked about oh, you talking about multiple streams of income. Okay. I'm like, what is he talking about? MSI. I'm like, so I just was like, oh, he's talking about stock. So I looked up Motorola Solutions. yeah, it's hard to control the income. That's why I'm investing in the first place so I can gain more control of the income. Then I could break away from my job and do something else. Exactly. I mean, that's my whole thing. Like, I mean, yeah, you can't control necessarily how much you make. You can get raises and stuff like that. They're very difficult to get, but that energy, you could take that money, take some money, and invest it, and just buy like, some goods, and then resell them and make some money. You got more control over that than getting a raise at work or getting increasing your income. Now, I would suggest like you kind of similar to that Starbucks worker. I definitely suggest. I don't know how much you make now, Soul Shader, but I mean, you got some youth. You know what I'm saying? You got some youth, so you could probably don't know what you comfortable doing. You seem to be like, I think that you'll be good at this. This is what you'll be good at. I see you being doing this and making a killing because I know how to do that. You know, I know how to do that right there, and I think that if you get into something like that, you probably make 3 to 4 times what you make right now because you already do graphics and stuff like that. UX designer, yeah, they make like close to what programmers make because they're the ones that make the apps look good. They develop the buttons. They developed how the interface, the GUI of the app looks, the GUI of software. That's what UX designers do. I think you'll be good at doing that. Okay. No, I mean, yeah, in my opinion, I mean, I don't know. You might. I want to just say, just fuck it, just gonna be a software developer because that's where the money has been in the last 20 years or more, even longer. You know, just go ahead and just go and take that leap. But it's very difficult, man, to learn. For me to learn software development is very difficult. Now, I can be a software developer if I got an opportunity because I already now know how to take code and edit it. So I mean, they just I just think that I can if I got an opportunity, someone to hire me on, I think that I could make some moves. But because I went to school for programming, and I already know how to edit Windows code. I know how to edit it, but I don't know necessarily know how to engineer it. But yeah, I mean, I definitely I definitely think that you could probably do UX design. I would say so. You know, yeah, that's where it starts, man. Because see, here's the thing about software and code and apps. You know, basically, do you need the connects? What do you mean by that? By connects? Because see, the thing about software and code and even websites, this stuff is still fairly new. You could just sit and think about things and then brainstorm, and it's like ideas out there that they don't even, it's like stuff out there that's like, okay, you can see they're trying to do something, but they haven't really done it well yet. Or it's a lot of stuff that's not even out there. They don't even have like, the quote unquote, it's an app for that. They don't have an app for that yet, you know. You know what I'm saying? as far as like people that teach you how to code and stuff, shoot, I'm always welcome. But I mean, it's all kind of ways. Like, I mean, you got Treehouse Academy. Um, you got Free Code Academy, Free Code Camp. Put that on us. Free Code Camp. I mean, you got what else? I mean, you got Udemy as well. Oh, hold on. I'm just hopping on here, man. I ain't really I ain't really necessarily got the energy, man, to really do. I'm barely able to keep up with you guys in the chat, man. But I mean, I'll definitely probably be on another day. But yeah, I really ain't really trying to talk too much. Yeah. But if you got any links, man, definitely drop them. I'll post them in the description later or whatever. If you got any links, man, of no, because I actually went to school for programming. I had a tutor. My tutor he was in grad school, and like are you a programmer, Iori? Because yeah, I mean, it's pretty much I pretty much talked about everything that I wanted to talk about as far as this middle class trap thing. I mean, this topic is, it definitely will be talked about again. But you know what? It really is self-explanatory. I'll say that if you need, are you working IT? Okay, yeah, but it's pretty much like if you need assistance, I definitely. Oh, okay, you got some programming friends and family. Okay, that's definitely good. Basically just reach out to me. I would say if you need any help, the thing about it is, my book definitely will help you. I mean, I couldn't say it no better than that. I mean, basically on all of my videos, I basically put my link for my book. It's on Kindle version and also um, paperback. It definitely will help you. Okay. Now, some things definitely are gonna cost you. I mean, my books. I have a storage unit and I have two big, huge boxes of books. Right. Most of those books that I have, I've spent money on. Okay. Some of them I got used off of Amazon. Yeah, man. That's just each one teach one, man. I mean, I'm older, man. So I know about different forms of IT. So when I see a guy that's a graphics designer, I'm thinking, and I already know. I think I could be a UX designer, but it's hard to get in. People don't necessarily, work off of that. Like, oh, okay, you want to do this, okay. So you and everybody else wants to do it, But yeah, it's like, uh, you know, if I can see something in someone to give them some advice on what avenue to go in, I definitely would recommend IT. Now, IT isn't for necessarily everybody, but I mean, if you're able to deal with it, yeah, I mean, You already do graphics design and UX developers. That's what they do. That's the gist of what they do. So yeah, try it out if you can. Might change your life because they make a lot of money. They make like think the average UX designer probably makes like lower 100,000, maybe 95, $85,000 a year, maybe like 75 to start. I don't even make that, bro. I don't make that. Okay, so um, I'm in the desktop support, so I'm just the guy that in corporate America you call because your computer doesn't come on. You know what I'm saying? That's who I am. Okay, it's what I do for my little bread, and I make okay money. I mean, I'm not complaining. I'm definitely not complaining. I mean, I have a lot of freedom that I don't have from other jobs. So it's like I'm level 2, but I actually got up. I'm getting upgraded to level 3, which is network support. So yeah, I'm in level 2, bro. So I'm the guy. I actually, to be honest with you, I've I've had so many jobs. I've been in IT for about 15 years, and I've had jobs where I've actually had to fix the actual computer. I'm talking about break the laptop down, put it back together, break the desktop down, put it back together, fix it, and that's that, right? And I make more doing basically just calling the IBM guy to repair it than I do fixing computers like in the past. I mean, I make substantially more money not fixing actual hardware, being more hands off than actually fixing hardware. So, you know, that's primarily what I do. I mean, some days it's pretty easy. Most days it is, especially when I'm at home, when I work from home. Like, I don't want to go in the office. I just stay at home in my pajamas and, and I just wait for somebody with a computer issue to hop on. And then I deal with my existing tickets and send out emails and everything and go on Zoom meetings. I mean, that's pretty much my day. I mean, some days I it's a lot busier than others. Mondays usually are very, very busy. Like I already know this upcoming Monday is gonna be busy as hell. Cause this one dude, he broke his laptop, his motherboard is fried. So he talking about he need to get the data off of it. And I told him he need to buy this little device. So he probably bought it already, probably next day air. He coming in Monday trying to get that data off. And this is like that's gonna take up like hours of my time. I already know that. And then it's already other people that's I got meetings already for Monday, and Monday ain't even here yet. You know, I already know Monday I better take all my multivitamins, all my supplements because I'm gonna definitely need them, and that's that. Like it's just gonna be like that. But yeah, like I said, I mean, you got people, man. They got project managers. All you need is to take the it's called a PMP class. I mean a PMP certification. I mean this certification, all you got to do is pass this one. Some of them they actually ask for a bachelor's degree, and some of the jobs they don't. But if you get this certification, you pretty much, man, you gonna make like over 100 grand. You're gonna make 100 grand out the gate, and you just basically got to pass the PMP certification. So mean, that's that. So yeah, anyways, I'm gonna hop up off of here. If anybody needs any further assistance in getting out of the middle class trap, check out my website, brokegeniuses.com. You can reach me there for consultations. I'll give you a plan. You can email me. You know how to get at me basically. So I'm gonna hop up off of here. You guys have a wonderful weekend. I'm gonna be talking about some things on tomorrow, as far as for women. Give you women a little game in this here world or whatever, as far as the dating world. So I'm gonna be talking about that because a lot of you women are clueless. So I'm gonna try to throw out a bone for you. Um, and it ain't my dick. All right, later.